Good morning, fellow filmmakers, and welcome to a brand new channel. Now, this is probably going to be a really cheesy intro, but I'm just going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about what's going to happen with this channel and where I'm going with it, and basically what I'm going to do with it. So, here's the deal, guys. I finished my exams in June. My last exam, which was, ironically, my film studies exam, was on June the 12th, and I am free. Yes, I'm free. Gap year, here we come, before the sort of awesome journey of university. However, I have an absolute passion for film studies, and it is driving me insane not doing anything at all. Writing essays, call me crazy, but I love it. I just love writing essays. So, here's the deal. As I just finished my film studies course and I've got all of this information running around in my brain, I want to embark some of my knowledge to you. Now, I do not profess at all to be sort of an academic or advanced or good at this, but I am hoping that I can give you some sort of advice on the spec itself. So this is for the WJEC Film Studies course. It's the Welsh board. It's for the A-level one, so this covers AS, A2, and I think it does say on the website it says something GCE. However, I'm not sure how much I can sort of give you in terms of that. But in terms of terminology and mise-en-scène and just generally sort of exploring the world of film, there may be some stuff that can sort of be transferable towards the film studies part for GCSE. So, and I know one thing one part of the reason I'm doing this is because as I was doing the course, I realised that actually there's not an awful lot of stuff on YouTube in terms of revision videos for film, and that really was annoying. For my other topics such as English and business and that sort of thing, there was quite a lot on there, and that definitely helped me. So for film studies, I know there are so many different topics, but at least for some of you there may be, even if it's just one topic or two. If there's all three, then great. But sometimes it's just nice to hear another person's or a fellow student's point of view, because I know for me particularly in class discussions and such, it always helped me to hear other people's perspectives on the matter. So without further ado, here are the three topics that I studied for A2 film studies. So the first one was, obviously, as you probably are well aware, there are 3 sections in your film studies paper. Now this may seem daunting considering that it is a lengthy exam. I think it's 2 hours 45 minutes if I remember correctly. So it is a lengthy exam, but do not fear, I am here. It's not as bad as it seems. You will find that time flies very fast and you will have loads to talk about. So for section A, I particularly did international film styles, so we studied surrealism. In fact, I think I still have, yes I do, post-it notes everywhere for this topic. There's a lot to learn in terms of dates, everything. There's an awful lot to learn, but do not worry, because as with anything, you will find like song lyrics, things will just, hopefully, will just embed themselves in your brain, and that is, I'm sorry to say, just a case of repetition and trying to learn things. But for the surrealism spec, I did French surrealism and Czechoslovakian. In fact, I'm going to put Czechoslovakian down the bottom because that was a term that took me a while to learn the word. So for Czechoslovakian stuff, I studied Jan Spankmeyer, and we did Alice, and you can look at his shorts, which are very important. It's good to talk about his background, his previous filmmaking and all of that stuff. But again, I will go in more depth with particular videos for these later down the line. So for the French wave, I also did Louis Buñuel, who is, as a film student, you should know his name anyway. He is very important. I cannot stress this enough. Louis Buñuel. You can talk about Salvador Dali. There's a load of people that you can talk about. For the French stuff, I did, blimey, I'm trying to think now. I did The Phantom of Liberty, and one of the first films that you could argue ever made, Un Chien Andalou, which is weird, but I weirdly enjoyed it. It's as a film student, hopefully you will be enjoying these films, not finding them too much of a task to watch, as it were. So that's section A, surrealism under the international film style. Moving on to section B, I did popular film and emotional response. Now, popular film and emotional response is more generic, and if you're doing this maybe just to bulk out your course, then this is a nice question to talk about. It's very heavily sort of, again, it's popular culture, so it's not so much sort of unique films or avant-garde or art house cinema. This is the sort of mainstream stuff. So For my one, we did, I'm trying to think now, American History X, Eden Lake, and Borat.
Very nice. How much?
Now, these can, for me, I found them a bit boring, but again, there is loads to talk about in terms of mise-en-scène, cinematography, pleonastic sound, diegetic, non-diegetic. Oh, it's all there. Everything is there, and you will be fine with it as long as you remember certain terminology and just do a lot of micro-analysis. Micro-analysis is key for this topic. Just bulk it out with that. Of course, you want to talk about contextual stuff and how it impacts, but there is a lot to talk about, especially if it's sort of a graphic film. There is a lot to talk about in terms of micro-analysis. Now, that one aside, the first two questions, section A and section B, are 35 markers, I believe. So going on to section C, this was perhaps my favourite one, was I did an auteur study. Now the auteur study can cover 2 different questions. I think you've got a choice of 3 altogether. You can do a specific sort of critical study, as it were. I did Hitchcock as my auteur study. Now Hitchcock, there is an awful lot online for him, obviously, as he is one of the biggest directors known to everybody. And yeah, there's just a lot to talk about. He's an interesting guy, and again, it's become more sort of mainstream as a director, but his stuff was sort of defining in terms of cinema. Another term that you're going to want to use an awful lot is canonical. His films did have canonical status, which means that they have this sort of, they're up on a pedestal. They are considered the best of the best, if you will. But anyway, again, see, look, I ramble already. I apologise, but hopefully some of this stuff is useful. So just to recap, Hitchcock as an auteur is what I did. You will have a topic. You can either choose to do a specific question to your film. For example, I did Vertigo. I'm going to talk about Vertigo. I may throw in a bit of sort of, you can talk about his other films if you do wish to, but I wouldn't advise it. Try and stay sort of close-knit to the film itself. So you can either do a film-specific question, or you can do a critical approach, which could be feminist, it could be psychoanalytical, it could be any sort of approach like that. I suppose you could do Marxism to some extent. Maybe, I don't know, you could do. Or the one I went for was your critics and reviewers. Now, I like this one because often it's nice to bounce off of other people's ideas, as I said previously. So when you have a critic, I know it can sometimes be hard if you haven't got a good memory. I know it can be hard to sometimes remember things, but if you can remember a couple of critics' sort of quotes, 3-liner quotes, or even a 2-line quote, or just a couple of key words, that is really good actually, because then you can bounce off those ideas, you can embed it into your own analysis. There's so much you can do, and that's all part of, I suppose, your AOs, your assessment objectives, in that you can sort of bulk out your own analysis by having a unique outlook on the film itself. So by using these other critics' ideas, you can sort of, I don't know, take ideas, play off of them. There's so much you can do with it. But honestly, guys, please don't worry about it. Try and chill and enjoy the course, because at the end of the day, you're going to be doing A-levels once, and we're here once, so enjoy it. Enjoy film, because film is one of those universal languages, despite whether you can understand it or not. Often they're visually beautiful. It's just something about it, and just, it's an amazing tool when you look at it. But do not fear, the course will be fine. So that's what I'm going to be covering. I may cover some of the AS stuff if people particularly want it. I think I did crime and western, if I remember rightly, for AS. Yeah, I did things like Red River, Get Carter, Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, Brokeback Mountain. Many a funny class moment with that one, I will tell you, as you can well imagine. And yeah, I can give you some knowledge on that. I'll have to root through my folders, but I'm happy to do so. And again, if anybody has any other topics that they'd like to look at, certainly I will have a quick look at them and give you any feedback I can. So yeah, sorry, that was probably a really long intro, and I probably babbled an awful lot, but as you can tell, I get excited by film studies, so hopefully that will help a lot, and I look forward to helping you in the future. So good luck, guys, and try to stay chilled. It's gonna be fun. See ya.